2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
The paper had small tweaks now and then, but really hasn't changed a lot. Eisenhower thought that having a space program would help the US have a clear. NASA was also created because of the tension of the Cold War between the Russians and the launching of Sputnik. Space shuttles were designed to help transform the space frontiers of the 1970s into familiar territory, easily accessible for human endeavor in the 1990s, and Kirsty McAuliffe was the winner of the Teacher in Space program. She was picked from over 11,000 candidates. Our progress in space, taking giant steps for all mankind, is a tribute to American teamwork and excellence. Our finest mind in government, industry, and academia all have pulled together, and we can be proud to say we are first, we are the best, and we're so because we're free. President Reagan. Born in 1959, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Program, or NASA, was established by President Eisenhower. The draft legislation was signed on April 2nd by Eisenhower and was ratified on July 29th. The paper had small tweaks now and then, but really hasn't changed a lot. Eisenhower thought that having a space program would help the US have a clear view of the universe. NASA was also created because of the tension of the Cold War between the Russians and the launching of Sputnik. This statement makes clear the opportunity which a developing space technology can provide to extend man's knowledge of the Earth, the solar system, and the universe. President Eisenhower. Space shuttles were designed to help transform the space frontiers of the 1970s into familiar territory, easily accessible for human endeavor in the 1990s and 90s. Richard Nixon. STS-6 was the first flight of the Challenger and successfully sent the first tracking and data relay satellite into space. The flight launched on April 4th and came back to Earth on April 9th, 1963. John Early thought that before space shuttles, NASA was spending too much money because the shuttles they used were not reusable, but now with space shuttles they will not have to spend as much money. Also, in the newspapers, the Billings Gazette stated that space shuttles were key to America's future in space. Challenger's second flight, STS-7, was to send 2 satellites into space, NX-C2 and Polypa B-1. Several major accomplishments were that one of the crew members, Sally Ride, was the first female American in space. Also, they met with the German shuttle pilot, and Paulette took the first full picture of a space shuttle in space. Endeavour was NASA's first space shuttle and was first publicly released on September 12, 1976. I think it's safe for all, so we won't be doing it. Astronaut John Young. In fact, I predicted Barbara Morgan would win and Kirsty McAuliffe would come in second. Bill Horwood. Kirsty McAuliffe was the winner of the Teacher in Space program. She was picked from over 11,000 candidates. The process was that each state picked 2 candidates to go to the next stage of testing of their bunch. Then the candidates went to the next stage of testing about different aspects of space DC. Then they chose 10 candidates to go to Texas to do physical exam. After the testing was done, several NASA veterans met up to do more interview. In the end, NASA decided to pick 36-year-old Kirsty McAuliffe and Barbara Morgan as backup. Kirsty McAuliffe, Francis Scobie, Michael Smith, Alison Onozuka, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, and Gregory Jervis were the crew of ST-151L. ST-151L was supposed to launch the second tracking and data relay satellite, the Spartan Haley spacecraft. The satellite, which job was to take pictures of Halley's comet as close as spot to the sun. The mission was originally on January 22nd, but was delayed due to the cold weather. But finally, it was delayed until 11:38 a.m. on January 28th. The night of the launch, a regular skull glided through Florida. Everything seemed good until mission control asked Scobie to go throttle up, but the shuttle exploded 73 seconds after liftoff, killing the whole crew at 46,000 feet of elevation. It's like getting a message your whole family was killed. Pearson. This occurs every day of the week, but when it occurs before your eyes, it is so much more difficult to accept. Metzenbaum. One of the immediate reactions after the shuttle exploded was that NASA was punished and on a non-permanent shutdown. Then President Reagan created the Roger Commission. The Roger Commission's job was to find the cause of the explosion, and it included Neil Armstrong and Sally Ride, test pilot Chuck Yeager, and physicist Richard Feynman. The commission later found out that the space shuttle exploded due to the failure of O-ring. It was decided that around 59 seconds, an 8-foot flame emerged from the hole, then grew to be 40 feet. The flame eroded one of the 3 struts. When all 3 struts broke, the base of the booster trolled through the external fuel tank, causing the tank to collapse and exploding the engine. The Roger Commission also found out that NASA was aware of the potential failures of O-ring. NASA launch directors recently told the Presidential Commission investigating the Challenger accident that they are not aware the solar rocket's O-ring were a potential flight risk the day the Challenger was launched, Reno Gazette. Several engineers, such as Bob Ebling, had warned NASA about the possible failure of O-ring in a teleconference. But instead, Lawrence Muller said, "When do you want me to launch? Next April?" Even though the data was clear, politics and pressure made them continue. The Challenger's going to blow up. Everyone's going to die. Bob Ebling. Pennies for Space Rebuild a Spirit. Charlotte Gregory. The space race had begun. Multiple missions have been sent up to space. Following Challenger's 9th flight to space, NASA decided to send up a teacher in space through the Teacher in Space program, but the Challenger exploded 73 seconds after liftoff due to the lack of communication between flight directors and engineers. The explosion influenced NASA in many ways, including the Roger Commission, many fundings, the ISS, and Barbara Morgan on STS-118. Even though NASA did have some up and down, it led the Earth where no one had gone before. Christian McAuliffe's legacy is open-ended. Every teacher's legacy is open-ended. I know people will be looking at this and remembering Challenger, and that's a good thing. They will also be thinking about all the people, teachers and other people, who have been working really hard and will continue working really hard to carry on the work that Krisha was doing. Barbara and Morgan.